Debbie and Giordano. Welcome to Valley Homes on TV, and Todd Flesner is here.
Hey, happy to join you. Good to see you, Deb.
Happy to join you again today.
Yep.
Get away from the spring weather outside, and it's been beautiful, huh?
Well, that's why we love living in this area, isn't it?
Absolutely. And folks can catch us on Channel 26, where they'll can see us on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 o'clock, and Saturday and Sunday at 9:30 a.m., and I think a lot of other times in between. So we're happy to be here.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks again for joining us. And you've tuned in today. You're probably wondering who we have sitting between us today. So welcome. Will Steinberger is here, and Will's with Opes Advisors.
Thank you.
Opes has got a couple of different things that we do. In addition to mortgages, we also have some financial planning services. And so thank you for coming in to represent what we do on that side of the business.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
That's
Super.
great.
So we like to open up and like to get to know our guests a little bit better. So tell us about where you grew up, where you were educated, and what brought you to the Bay Area.
Sure. So I guess I was brought to the Bay Area by my parents. I was I was born and raised.
Kind of figured that.
Born and raised in Palo Alto,
Okay.
and then went to Palo Alto public schools all through high school.
Great schools, yeah.
And so great back then, and still seem great now. And then went to San Jose State for college. Got a major in business with a concentration in finance.
They're a great business school, by the way. Yes.
Yeah, I really liked that school.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very good experience with great professors who I still keep in contact with. Relatively speaking, small classes. So has stayed local since then. So I have to have my parents to thank for that.
Okay, beautiful.
So suffice to say, you love it here in the Bay Area.
Yes,
All right.
very much.
And so you like living here in the Bay Area. You haven't ventured very far. But tell us kind of what is it that took you down the path that you were on into financial planning? How'd you end up in that arena?
So I always had an interest in finance and money. I think it started with my parents subscribed to a few newspapers, so I would usually start out reading with the comics and then eventually work my way up to the sports section, and then at some point
The Wall Street Journal guy? Or?
My parents were Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and Mercury News people, and throw in the Palo Alto Daily and Weekly. So eventually I started working my way up to the finance or business section and just kind of learning a little more about it that way. But then it really stemmed from as a kid, I was wanting to spend money on toys, and my toy of choice were bicycles. So I got a job in 8th grade at a bike shop selling bikes, and all of a sudden, I was making a fool's ransom at $10 an hour, so I'm sure it was less.
Wow.
And so I started to, wonder how to, make this money grow so that I could, buy a nicer bike. So it kind of stemmed out of an interest from that, and then a lot of people are drawn to the investment world over turning $10 into 100 or 1,000 or a million,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was very much the same way, trying to think about stocks that are going to explode in value overnight, and it really started that early.
So from a bicycle salesman or whatever, what brought you to this career path, or with Opes Advisors? Anything in between there?
There's certainly a lot in between there. So while I was at San Jose State getting, focusing on finance, I thought it would make a lot of sense to get an internship. So in finance, so I found a wealth management company located in Redwood Shores, but unfortunately it was a very poor experience. And that company, the style of company that's called, is what's known as a broker-dealer. And they, I learned later, were basically an annuity shop. Everybody that came in was fitted for an annuity. And I thought that was kind of peculiar because I hadn't heard of these products before.
And that's how the brokers got paid.
And that's how they got paid.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
the moment of realization really came. It was just a summer internship, so there was sort of a time limit on it. But the moment of realization came when I was sitting around a table with the boss and another advisor, and the other advisor was saying, what product, A or B, which one? And the head guy said, let's go with A. And the other guy said, that one doesn't pay a commission. And I said, well, let's go with B. And then that was kind of the clicking moment where I realized, what is going on here, and if this is what financial planning is, then I really don't want anything to do with it. So I like the academic side of things, so I stayed with the finance focus, but I thought if that's really what the professional world is like, then I'm going to go another direction. And that's pretty much what I did. So after I completed college, I went the startup route. I co-founded a company with a friend that where we streamed music to live or to local bars or clubs or lounges. Like most startups, that one failed, but it was still a great experience.
You've had some great, failures are the stepping stone to success. What you don't want to do.
I'm failing forward.
Failing forward. John Maxwell says failing forward.
Then after that, I joined a more venture-backed startup in the sales department, selling to large financial institutions, banks, and credit unions, and so that was a much more positive experience. They were eventually bought by MasterCard. So that was a few years there, a very fun environment, but I kept having this interest in personal finance, about talking to, I would talk to fellow coworkers about the best way to invest a 401k or various things in the news that were going on. And at that time, sort of towards the end of the time with MasterCard, I learned about the difference between a broker-dealer, that type of company that I was with as an internship, and what's called a registered investment advisory, which is a financial planning firm.
Which is what you're doing today.
Exactly, which is you have that fiduciary duty to legally do what is in the best interest of the client, non-commission based. And so I found a good firm in Marin, got my certified financial planning designation there, and found my way to Opes when I wanted to move from San Francisco down here just about a year ago.
Well, good. Okay.
Yeah, good. So, so you talk about the style of investing in terms of Opes and those that have a fiduciary responsibility, and what kind of drew you to that. Who are the folks that you typically work with then in that sort of environment? Who are the best people that you can help in that role?
Yeah. So most of our clients are either business owners or independent contractors. Realtors are a great example. But also a large percentage of our clients are tech workers who work at name any big tech company around here.
They probably just don't have time to focus on, they're so busy with their business and maybe traveling, but they just don't focus on their own personal needs, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of, people around here are so busy, and especially, if you're a business owner, that you just have a lot going on, and the onus is kind of more on you to manage your taxes and insurance, and there's much more to handle, and you tend to have a lot going on there. And from a tech employee perspective, RSUs or stock options can just add another layer of complexity as far as figuring out, how to best exercise these.
Let's look at this in layman's terms. So what exactly, shorten in abbreviation, what does a wealth advisor do?
So I think at the highest level, what we do is basically try to ensure that people are okay. We want to answer. Everyone wants to know, am I okay? And that question kind of varies based on who it's coming from. It could mean, am I okay to spend X amount per year in retirement? Am I on track to retire? Am I taking full advantage of my 401k at work? Am I invested appropriately?
So like a doctor or nurse, you just check the pulse. Huh?
I love that analogy. Yes.
Yay,
I tell people, come to me with your problems, and we will diagnose from there.
Diagnose from there. Okay, good.
Tell me where it hurts. Tell me what you're worried about, what's keeping you up at night,
okay,
and what's going well.
So let's talk about financial planning in terms of how it relates